hands are dry. If I have wet hands and I touch my new clay, it won't stick to the back. So I'm going to get rid of the foam. Okay, so the first thing I have to do is center. And I do that just by squeezing the clay. And I pull up as I squeeze. And then I'm going to smash it back down. I'm trying to get rid of that wobble. So this happens. Do you have any physics students?
You might not know what you're talking about.
Okay. Centripetal force. There's a lot of physics in throwing, and eventually I have a goal to get with a physics department and do like the physics of throwing. I want to do a video of it and have the physics people tell me exactly what's going on, which would be pretty obtuse to like just the regular lay potter, but it would be pretty interesting. So at this point, I still have a wobble that's visible. So I'm going to exert equal force in with my left hand and down with my right hand. And because two objects cannot occupy the same space at the same time, technically, in theory, the clay should come to center. So the next step is piercing down with my thumbs. And if I go all the way to the bat, my pot won't have a bottom. So I'm going to leave about 1/4 of an inch just so I can trim later. If you leave more on the bottom, you can trim it off. If you have a really thin bottom, by default, it's just going to crack out. So fat is better. So now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to open up. Just going to drag my hand right through the clay. Now this is the inside bottom of my pot. So now I'm going to slow down. I don't like to throw really fast. My hands have to work together. I can't be up here like this or back here like this. I need to keep my hands totally steady. Every time I drip water over the whole pot, notice when I step on the wheel, centrifugal force smashes it out into the splash pan. But on the inside, it's just eroding. So whenever I add moisture to the outside, I want to get it out of the inside. I really only need moisture on the vertical surfaces. So now I'm going to squeeze really gently. If I squeeze too hard, it just rips off in like a big clay donut. So my goal at this point is to take all of this thickness of clay and squeeze it and move it up through the piece, and that's what gives me height. So as soon as I see that clay start to move, I'm still exerting that pressure. I'm squeezing evenly, but now I've just added a vertical pull. And that vertical pull has to be nice and consistent too. I don't want to vary my speed. So ideally you should move the clay through the piece in about 3 pulls. And that's a bunch of hooey for most people. But the longer you manipulate your clay, the wetter it gets. If your clay gets super saturated, it's not going to stand up under its own weight. And ideally, before you even center your clay, you're going to have an idea of what you're going to make. Because if you change horses in mid-race, it's a recipe for disaster. I've got one more pull left. Just trying to evenly distribute that clay. And now I'm going to shape it a little bit. So I want it to be a little bit fatter and rounder. So I'm going to push more on the inside, but notice that my hand on the outside is supporting it. And then I'm going to collar in just a little bit for a neck. Ease off. Bend this guy over a little bit. And in my brain, eventually what I might do for this is add some little lugs to the side, and it can be a casserole pot or a bean crock or something that you can use. And because I'm using stoneware, this can actually go in the oven. What kind of clay do you guys use?
607, 606.
Right? Fire to mid temperatures?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so do you guys know what that all means? Okay, so